Sometimes you need to look up information simply to know if it exists. And so we don't always need a VLOOKUP or an HLOOKUP to come up with data from nearby locations. Let's imagine that this Social Security number that we see in cell C2 on this worksheet called Match, maybe this is in a different worksheet, different workbook. We're trying to see if the Social Security number exists in column A. I think you can see clearly that it does. It's right here. But imagine that this is located elsewhere, and we might have a whole series of numbers that we're trying to match up here. The function we're about to use is called match. And here's the value we're looking up, comma. The location of the data that we're looking through is in column A in this example, so we'll just click column A. There's nothing else in column A except the label and a bunch of different numbers there. Comma. And notice the entries that we see here. If we want an exact match, we'll use 0. Now, in certain other kinds of data, but certainly not this kind of data, sometimes it's more appropriate to find less than, and you can see here, find the largest value that's less than or equal to a lookup value. The array must be placed in ascending order. Another situation could be greater than, that's a -1, finds the smallest value that's greater than or equal to a lookup value. The lookup array must be placed in descending order. So in different kinds of other situations, those are appropriate. But if we're trying to find an exact match, we choose 0. And you can type it, of course, or tab it in either way. And then when we complete the entry, if this is found, in other words, if we get an exact match, it tells us the location. It doesn't give us any other information. If there's information in adjacent columns, we really can't do anything with that by way of match. This simply confirms by giving us a value as an answer. It tells us where it's found in this location. It's in the 7th position of column A. Sure enough, it's right here. If we somehow had used exact cell references, in other words, if we had done this, our answer would be 6 because it's within the 6th position of those entries right there. We get that answer. So the previous example probably is easier to set up. And once again, using an entire column reference makes good sense here. If you wanted to have an answer here that says if it's found, then it's found or it's not found, we could simply make an alteration here using other functions to say, for example, if error, in other words, if this comes up with an error and doesn't find our answer, comma, what is it that we want to do? If that is an error, then maybe we want to say, double quote, not found. This is certainly one approach. And what happens if we do find it? It'll simply come up with a number, like the number 7 that we saw here. So for the moment, that hasn't changed, but if this is a different number, and I'll just change one character in it here, change that to a 4, that's the kind of answer we'll get. So you could imagine using other functions along with match, possibly giving you answers in a clear way. But the main purpose of match, many times, certainly not always, but many times, as we saw it in its previous state, was simply to see if we have a match or not. In both of these cases here too, the formatting for Social Security numbers, do be aware of the fact that this looks like here, like they're hyphens, but in the formula bar, if you double click here, this is one of those special kinds of formatting that exists strictly for Social Security numbers. The hyphens are in the format, not in the content. And so whenever you are comparing Social Security numbers, make sure that the item that you're comparing and the table that has the comparison list has the same formatting. And the example over in column A, both of these have the same format, the column A entries and these here. And that's important when you're comparing certain kinds of entries. Phone numbers are another situation. When you're comparing phone numbers, sometimes they don't match up when you know they should. Possibly you're using different formatting there. And as a quick reminder, if you do have Social Security numbers, take out the actual hyphens that might be there, right-click the entries in question, go right into Format Cells, and choose Social Security number right here, the format that displays the hyphens for those entries. So we can see here how match could be used by itself or possibly in combination with the if error function to let us know if we actually found data elsewhere.